Hey there, comic book friends, I'm Travis. It's time for the edition of What the Fugue, where I talk about what's going on with me in my world of comics. How's it going, everyone? This is the start of 2016. Kind of moved to a different place. Hopefully you're not catching too much echo off of stuff. I can't get good lighting by my comic book boxes right now for some reason, and until that changes, i.e. summer comes when I get more light shining into that area, natural light, or I splurge and buy myself some sort of light equipment, probably gonna be doing most of my videos here just because I get tired of sitting in a cave. It's one of the things I don't like. I like to be able to see what's going on when I watch a video, and I'm assuming that you do too. If I happen to show something, I want you to be able to see it. So anyways, this is where I am for now. Here we are with my Wonder Woman poster up here and a Batman poster. Can't really see the Wonder Woman very much. It is cover 253, Incredible Battle Between the Body Snatchers from Space. It's an awesome cover. And of course, Detective Comics, issue number 164, the Dynamic Duo. Anyway, thanks for tuning in here. What's going on? Of course, first and foremost, Comic Book Roundtable will of course be Saturday once again. We'll be talking comics, talking about the current comics and whatever else comes up. I haven't looked really at the news a whole lot. I don't think there's anything like burning on fire that we're going to need to talk about as far as internet rage for the week or anything like that. So we'll just be talking some books. Having a good time with that. Speaking of books, I know there's been some discussion, like on our roundtable, stuff like that. A lot of us have read Karnak issue number 1, and we're kind of like, where's Karnak issue number 2? And not really known. My understanding is this Karnak issue number 2 will not come out until February 3rd. February 3rd is when issue number 2 comes out. Issue number 1 came out, what? 2 months ago, I think, at the point of time. So it's gonna be like a 4-month delay between issue 1 and issue 2, it sounds like. I'm not sure exactly what all the reasons for that were. Like I said, I know that Warren Ellis, the writer, had some medical scares that I think changed a lot of stuff and whatnot. He's been relatively quiet for being the once upon a time internet Jesus. I'm not exactly sure what's up. But anyway, that'll come when it comes. I do know that they're working hard, speaking of other work that he's doing, working hard on injections, so that should be coming up here soon, I believe. We'll start getting more of that again, which will be awesome. Look forward to that. So that'll be cool. What else is going on with my week? I'm about halfway through Fabio Moon, Gabriel Ra's Two Brothers, which I got for Christmas. I started out reading it, and there was a character in it I absolutely hated. Wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to finish reading the book because I hated the character so much. Kind of muscled through that part, and that's changed now. I don't know what will become of that character. We've kind of moved on to other things. Wonderful storytelling. Those two do such a wonderful job creatively, artistically and whatnot. It's pretty cool. Let's see, what else is going on? I can't think of anything else as far as like newsy type things that I want to talk about and whatnot. The only other thing I really want to talk about at this point, yeah, don't want to discuss anything else. I don't think, other than talk about a book. It's been kind of a crappy week, so I'm inclined to just kind of want to break things in half as opposed to have a reasonable conversation. So we'll jump into Paul Pope's 100%. Picked this up quite some time ago. I know I showed it back when I picked it up. Really becoming a Paul Pope fan. I really like his art style. He's just got a great way of drawing, of storytelling, of facial expressions, energy going on, and stuff. This is a book that I believe originally came out in like 2002, 2003. It was a Vertigo title. I believe it was like 5 issues, and then they made it into a trade sometime in 2004, 2005, I would guess. Yeah, 2002, 2003. I'm not exactly sure when this edition was printed. 2009 is when this edition was printed. It's a black and white comic. It has some tone, some gray tones in it. My understanding is the gray tones were done by Lee Luridge. Of course, a lot of us know him. He's a colorist for a lot of different stuff and whatnot. But yeah, it's got some great stuff in it. But anyway, 100%. It is actually, it's set in the future. It's set in 2083 is what I want to say oh, that can't be right though, because they're talking about the World Cup of 2050. So yeah, I can't tell you what. Oh, 2038. 2038 is when this is set. It's set in New York. It's set in basically the kind of Manhattan boroughs and whatnot. It is about 6 people who are loosely tied together, either around a club or the people who work in that club. And the 6 people don't all necessarily come together with each other, but there's a connection between all 6 people. And it's kind of a romance story of, I would say, in the sense that life has romance in it, that there are loves and there's love lost, and just all of that kind of stuff that's in there. It starts out with a little blip at the beginning of it that's like a news feed kind of a thing. You know, here's your news. You know, the Mexican merman dies of respiratory complications resulting in pneumonia, casting serious doubt on the possibility of a mutant versus human soccer match any time before 2050 World Cup. Plans for the first human versus robot soccer match continue apace, however. Euro soccer officials predict the first match will be played within 5 years. The Catholic Church continues its synopsis on the possible ethical ramifications of a human loss resulting from the first match. The Church remains steadfastly opposed to the game. So, and other people are talking about, using commercial stuff. There's all these different things in, different news clips in here. 8 deaths were reported overnight in Manhattan borough, including 3 stabbings, 2 hit and runs, 2 shootings, and 1 case of unidentified female being bludgeoned. Shark attacks are down worldwide, according to the OEN reports published this week. Goes on to some other similar stuff. Just give you a bunch of the news, pieces of the weather. It talks about recommendations, the Cat Shack. Hyperbolists say that the popular trendy hotspot is busy for a reason, featuring 3 floors of red-hot action, including 5 full bars, a 15-foot neon Catwoman sculpture, and the top floor gastro show. The Cat Shack is located dead, set in the center of Manhattan's revitalized urbanista downtown. The food is robust and decent, but it's to be seen and seem that the clientele show up. Don't wear much, no cash accepted, 2 pieces of ID required. The club, unsung Super Harlem, India. That is the biggest with sweet young things and midnight vultures. Its bi-level bar and dance floor have generated a fair share of crooning from uptown Sikhs to downtown freaks. Cash accepted. Anyway, little news pitch at the beginning. Kind of gives you a feel of 2038 in New York. And the opening page is this wonderful page right here. Full page spread. It says number 1 there. I don't know how well my camera picks it up, but this is a leg. A sneaker on it. A little bit of a stocking. Not much else on the leg. And what really sets it off is behind it. Behind it in this picture, it says white meat chick. Of course, it's a little chicken wrapper here. And then down below, it says 100% breast and thigh. Okay? And going to the next page, and it pulls away clearly trash bags and whatnot. And here's this leg in the trash. And then we start this conversation that somebody's having as we back farther away from the trash and into this club. And someone is saying, they found a dead girl in the alley last night behind the club. You knew her, I think. That girl with the with the weave-in white braids and the gold shoes, who was always at the Cat Shack on Thursdays. They found her face down in a pile of trash, in just her bra and trainers. Back of her head beat flat by a large, heavy rock, or maybe a big chunk of asphalt, from where it breaks apart when it freezes. They haven't figured that part out yet. And it goes on. They've had a conversation about how horrible that is. And one of the girls wanted to buy a gun. So we get these two girls, we're introduced at the beginning. One of them's wanting to buy a gun, the other one thinks it's a very bad idea for her to buy a gun, but she's going to go with her to help her make sure she gets a good gun because she is from the Pakistani India region, and her family was military, and so she has a sense of what guns are like. So she's going to help her friend get a decent gun anyway. And we go from that to those characters. One of the characters introducing the other one to a cousin of hers, Elroy, who is a budding performance artist. His dream is he's got a whole bunch of teapots, and these teapots he lives in a old abandoned grain silo. It is his home. Is in the top floor of this grain silo, and he has a whole bunch of burners and teapots. And he has all the teapots tuned to the note of C. And he's got 32 right now, and his goal is to get 100 of them, and he wants them all to be whistling at once. And it resonates around the city. And one of these girls basically falls in love with him just because of how kind of different he is and genuine he is, and it just the art moves her, and Paul Pope does such a great job of the way he writes it and the way he draws it that you feel moved along with her, as ridiculous as it might seem to have a piece of performance art based on these tea kettles going off. And so you have a bit of their struggle. You also have a relationship between one of the dancers in this thing, her dancer name is Dollar Bill. Even though we are shown in here that when they buy a gun, they're actually using $100 bills, and $100 bills have Chavez on them. So clearly the United States isn't using standard currency anymore. She goes by Dollar Bill. She is a stripper in this strip club. The Cat Club is got the top floor. The Gastro is actually a strip club type performance, but they actually have a gastral hookup, because at some point people got so bored of pornography that they needed something new, and so some guy decided, wow, I wonder what's going on inside of these women when they're getting off. And so that's become the new craze. They run these fine filament optics up in and get a 3D picture. So while you're watching them strip, there's also this massive screens that show what's going on in their stomach and stuff, which to me, everybody has their kink, right? So there's that weird aspect, the kind of sci-fi strangeness that goes on. But that's really not, even though that's what's happening and it's strange and stuff, that's really not what it's about. But anyway, the stripper and she's new to the club, and a bit of a drifter, and she starts a relationship with a busboy who mostly washes dishes at the club, and we get to kind of see their relationship, which is really interesting. And we also get the girl who helped buy the gun. She's clearly an older woman. She has a son. We get to see her relationship. She clearly had a relationship in the past with a fighter who is probably past his prime. They broke up because for a number of reasons, one being that he was a fighter and she doesn't like fighters, but somehow she ended up being attracted to him anyway. You know, stuff like that works sometimes. They all have these relationships, and they go through, you know, stuff that's in relationships and whatnot, and ends kind of really coolly. I really like the way that it ended and whatnot. Some people have a criticism that Paul Pope doesn't end things well. I thought this was a great ending, but like I said, the artwork, it's visceral, it's smart. There are some places in here. There's a point, like I said, this opening page. The reason I point this opening page out, there is a, you know, this leg, right, of this dead woman, and there's a point later on where Kim, the girl who's buying the gun, she's sitting on her bed and she's stretching her leg out, she's stretching her foot out, and she's thinking about the fact that she had tried on those gold tennis shoes that this other that this dead girl had, because they were cool shoes. She had tried them on at least once when they were having a conversation. But she's stretching her leg out and she's stretching her toes out, and just this whole scene and how it matches up with the opening scene is just really brilliantly done. It's incredibly subtle. I'm not making it sound subtle, but it's incredibly subtle, and I just really liked it. So that being said, I am hot on picking up some more Paul Pope stuff. Have you read any Paul Pope? What have you read? What did you like? What should I be looking at? I think I like this kind of independent stuff better. I haven't picked up Battling Boy. I've been meaning to do that. I just hear that Battling Boy is that kind of smaller produced comic that some of the Image does some books of. I do have some of those. I get them if that's the only way I can get them. Sounds like maybe Battling Boy is the only way I can get that. So I've been kind of hesitant to get that because Paul Pope, I enjoy his art, and I don't need it truncated. I don't need to make it smaller, kind of a thing. But if there's any more of this kind of stuff out there that I'm unaware of, I plan on picking up more of his work that he's done for the big two, because I know he's done some Batman stuff, which I don't actually own, which I think I'm going to need to own, because that's like the visceralness, the kinetic energy that comes out of his artwork. So I want to get it. I want to look into that stuff, but I'm really curious about this. I have another Paul Pope trade that's kind of a mix of a bunch of different things that I really liked. It had some stuff in it that I would really consider verging on the art side of comics as opposed to entertainment. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not sure how to explain myself on that. For me, some things, like there's a definite commercial feel to a lot of comics, and I don't have a problem with that. The big two clearly, not that everything is about making money, because most of these people are putting stuff out so they make some money so they can continue to do their work. But the big two clearly are money-making machines. That's really what they're about. And you get some more type stuff out there that's more verging on the art side of stuff, that it is the creators are creating something because they have a need to create that thing, whether it be something that we are enjoying or not. There was Intersect by Ray Fox, which I did not enjoy that, but I will say it was art. It really was different from everything that was out there. It was very kind of experimental in a lot of ways, and was just kind of telling its own thing in its own way, and I appreciated it for that. It just wasn't my thing. I didn't enjoy it, but I appreciate it for what it is. And the other one, I'm drawing a blank on what that one is, and it's not close enough for me to run and get it at this point. But it had some stuff in it that was very very art-like, that I really enjoyed. It was more emotional and more just kind of images and thoughts that I think was there just to kind of strike a feeling in you, as opposed to inform you and get from from point A to point B, like most stories have a progression to them, beginning and end, if it's a successful story anyway. And some of that stuff didn't. Some of that stuff was just more like thoughts and fancies is what it seemed like, and so I really thought that was cool too. So really, like I said, really excited by this. Really enjoyed it, and gonna be looking for more Paul Pope. I don't know why he's kind of not really on my radar, but certainly after these two books is really going to be on that radar now, to the point where I'm going to spend less time looking for, because I got this at massive discount. That's one of the reasons why I got it. I'm going to be less concerned with getting the things at discount and more concerned with just getting good stuff to read and look at and stuff. So, oh no, I know there's other things. Heck, my battery's still lasting. So let's talk about those other things. Good stuff versus bad stuff and whatnot. I'm kind of thinking about it, pondering the last while and whatnot. Does anybody know of good comic book poetry? And everybody's like, what the hell is that? And I'm not sure. I can't define it. I've been squawking for a very long time that I would love to see some poem comics. I picked up some, and other than very small parts of them, have really not thought they were that great. Anybody who's watched this channel for a very long time knows that I like poetry quite a bit. I haven't posted any poetry on here in a very long time, but I I still read it extremely regularly and very much enjoy it. Clearly, I love sequential art and comics, and so Match Made in Heaven, right? So they haven't been able to find heaven. What's out there? Anybody else know anything? I at least haven't had anything. Another thing I've been thinking about here lately, because I heard somebody, talking about punk this or punk that. Oh, and also I read The Last Gang on Earth. Is that what it's called? The Last Gang. It's a Vertigo book, just brand new and whatnot. And part of it's set in the 70s during the punk movement, when the punk movement first started out in England. And the way it is handled there is okay. I've read stuff like, clearly Hellblazer, Constantine has a punk background himself, was in a punk band, and I've always liked it because generally it stayed way away from really trying to capture that old subculture then. I know there's the Image book I collected for a little while called Punks. It was not really punk. I mean, it's commercialized, so clearly, he kind of, it had some elements, but clearly I didn't keep collecting it, so I guess I didn't think it was that good. Are there good comics out there that kind of explore either what it is to be punk or the punk culture at the time when it first kind of welled up and kind of had its apex, kind of thing? Because I'm not aware of it, and I'm just curious if anybody knows of anything that's out there that's along those lines. I by no means consider myself to be some, aficionado on punks or punk culture. I have a sense of what it is, and what I know of it and what of it that I've lived. But I don't know. I haven't been really satisfied with anything that's kind of built itself that way. So I'm just curious if anybody knows of anything out there that they think captures that in some sense or another. I think that's it. I think I've just rambled long enough this time around as I get back into doing videos on a more regular basis. So hopefully next week we'll start seeing Comic Roundtable, well, not Comic Roundtable, but No Capes and Monster Comic Reviews again. I get back in the swing of all of that, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, have a great one, everybody. See you on the weekend with whoever shows up on the Comic Roundtable. Have a great read.